Good evening, my brothers and sisters in Christ, and welcome to another Throwback Thursdays. We apologize for the late entry for this segment as we were having to deal with some meetings and some other church affairs between this morning and last evening, which had us a little preoccupied. Nevertheless, we give God thanks for the health and strength and the grace to minister you tonight in this fashion. This evening, I wish to reflect upon the parable of the mustard seed. The parable of the mustard seed. And so, Jesus presents to us this idea of a mustard seed. Yes, the parable of the mustard seed is a well-known parable, and oftentimes when we hear it, we think about this idea of a small seed growing into a big tree. Jesus, for this parable, explains how this seed benefits everyone when it is grown into its full potential. And of course, we think of the animals that nest in the tree, the birds, and of course the squirrels, and all other animals that take refuge, us that find shade and shelter from the rain. All of these little things benefit us when we understand the full potential of the seed when it is grown. And so when we think about what Jesus was trying to tell the early followers of that day, we must recognize the fact that he was showing them initially that this is what you guys are. This is how the church is. The church at this moment is just a group of persons. Some of you struggling, some of you believing full-heartedly, but of course it has its challenges. And so just like a seed, when you are planting it, of course a small seed, we have to make sure that it has the right love and the care for planting it to ensure that it germinates and it grows into a big tree. And so for the apostles, being that seed of the Christian church that was being implemented into the world, that we see the struggles in which they face. Sometimes when you think of the story, if it wasn't complete, you would not have think that the church would have grown into such a massive community of believers. But nevertheless, all the struggles and the trials in which the church had gone through in its early stages, we see now that despite all of these challenges, that when it has grown and had reached its full potential, that the amount of persons it drew into it and the benefits it had for so many persons. And so today we want to think about us as being seeds in the church. And of course, being on a journey where we grow and we learn and we get comforted and we understand our purpose in life. And we feel the need now to reach our full potential in this purpose of what God has put us in and has blessed us with. And so we can now be blessings to others. And this is what the opportunity in which the church had and which it grew into. We see it now with the early church understanding the common fund, the way it helped so many persons by sharing all of their belongings and what they had. Many times today we lose this idea in which now that we are supposed to be our brother's keeper, that now we have grown and matured and reached our full potential in life, all of the success and wealth in which we have gained, and yet now we are not using it to help other persons, as if now our seed has not grown and matured and turned and blossomed into a great tree which can help and aid other persons. We must understand the beauty of this parable and how it relates to us this evening. Many times we try to be selfish. We have the means to help persons, yet we hold it all to ourselves. The knowledge, the talent, and of course the wisdom to get persons back in gear the encouragement some persons may need to transform their lives, all of which we have the ability to do. When we sing, we're nourishing a seed. Do not nourish your seed in vain to grow into a wondrous tree that is being useless to the world. Jesus, we see, cursed the fig tree, the tree that produced no fruit. We want to make sure that our tree is producing fruit that the world can benefit from, that we are entering more closer into what God has planned for us. And for this reason, others can benefit, just as Jesus shows us in the parable of the mustard seed. I am the Reverend Scott Jupp, and may the Lord be with you.